Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. FaZe Drazah became official last night. Lots of reaction to this one from Drazah himself, from aBeZy as well, given the beef these guys have shared over the last couple of seasons, but also towards potential future opponents. SlasheR removed from FaZe. Drazah comes in and said, Drazah is definitely stirring up a bit of a rivalry there that we're looking forward to next season, absolutely. And also plenty of other opponents are going to feel the wrath, I imagine, of Drazah and Cellium snaking hard on the same team that they've already implied they're most certainly going to be doing. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, just wanted to quickly mention here the top 20 challenger players is now being released over the coming days. This was 20 down to 16 that we saw yesterday. Pretty funny because I saw the first, the guys did a great job putting this together, but I watched the first few seconds of this video and I saw Mr. Doug sent to us. I was like, damn, did Doug get top 20? But I don't think he got top 20. Unless he's actually in the top 15 or number 1, which he might be. I guess we'll see. But shout out iHoldShift and Omar and all the boys that managed to put this phenomenal series together. And of course, over time, we'll do the same thing for the top 20 pro players of the season. That is not too far away. Drazah is certainly among them. He joins FaZe officially last night. The villain arc continues. And as we talked about, this team is going to be, they're going to be running up the fan base. Let's not deny it. The crowd is going to be pretty hostile to this team for, look, Drazah's going to lap it up. The FaZe guys are going to lap it up. They know what they're getting themselves in for. And Drazah to FaZe has now officially been confirmed as of last night. Pretty crazy as well to think that Drazah's now competed for all of the kind of big three, theoretically. There are a big three in the CDL, and Thieves will feel like they remain in that category, despite the fact that this upcoming season, they don't have the budget. They're going to struggle to compete on this level. But in fairness, during the Cold War season, they weren't particularly competitive, but were still up there in terms of 100 Thieves, OpTic, FaZe. You've got New York Subliners, you've got Toronto Ultra. Those are big brands, but in terms of classic Call of Duty brands pre-CDL, OpTic, Thieves, and FaZe were those three. They still are those three, at least of the ones that still exist. Rest in peace, Envy, and all this stuff. But he's competed for OpTic now. Okay, the real one, not technically the real OpTic, right? OpTic Gaming Los Angeles during the Modern Warfare season. That kind of got him the spot on LA Thieves, and then he joins FaZe from it now going forward. So pretty remarkable stuff. And also it was confirmed that we did get him here when he took these images from, it did turn out that Swift was actually bang on the money. I believe that this location where Drazah took these photos was the same one. So Ghosty was like, yeah, you'll got us. He was at the facility on that day, as we expected him to be. But lots of reaction to this, as you would expect, from Drazah, from aBeZy, from around the league as to what this means for the future. Drazah also explains, and he does confirm, that the OpTic offer was there, because it wasn't fully clear whether OpTic actually had given Drazah the official offer or whether they weren't so sure, and therefore he was just going to go to FaZe anyway after waiting around for a while, and then OpTic got Kenny. But it feels like Drazah, especially given Dashy's relationship with Drazah, the fact that Dashy on the podcast a couple of months ago was asked the question by Nameless, if you had to choose between Drazah and Scrappy, what would you do? And he said Drazah in about 2 or 3 seconds flat. So I think it was quite clear they wanted him, but he made the call to go elsewhere. No-brainer to go with a team that places top 3 at every event. That makes sense, but of course there's other people that would say it's a no-brainer to join OpTic, given what that means for the brand and all this type of stuff. And it's not like Pred, Shotzzy, Dashy are a bad trio, but they're not necessarily as proven as the Tiny Terrors plus Cellium are. So that's certainly understandable from Drazah's point of view, but it's still an interesting decision because some players would have made a different call, there's no doubt. Like in Pred's position, would he have chosen the FaZe offer over the OpTic offer? I'm not so sure personally. But I think Pred possibly sees greater upside from the future of his brand and that potential over an OpTic than maybe Drazah does, and it's a difference between the teams. Obviously everyone wants to win, but you also want to cement a legacy, and if you look at the top players of all time, almost all of them have played for OpTic at some point or another. So they had a call, they had to drop the beef. I wonder if that was the call that Crowder was talking about and then denied that ever happened a while ago when he said, oh, we had a chat with aBeZy, it was like an hour long. I wonder whether there was a conversation going on there around about whether Drazah would be a good option, but I'll share what they had to say on this, and then there's some even spicier stuff to get into.
What was it about FaZe that kind of drew you to him? I mean, that's the top comment, but I'll let you answer it.
Yeah, obviously, I had the OpTic offer, and I did think about it, but once FaZe hit, because they hit me up a few days later, once FaZe hit me up, it kind of was a no-brainer. They consistently get top 3 at every single event. That's their worst placing, and to be that consistent, it just is a no-brainer for me. I think that the OpTic, we had very high potential if I were to play for OpTic, but I think that there's a potential that we weren't as consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just a no-brainer to go with a team that places top 3 at every single event. And obviously, I think that I'm better than both of their old fours. So I think that I'll be able to show up and show up on Sunday and bring championships.
I like
this
that.
Just it. And Drazah thinks he's better than SlasheR and Orcities. You heard it here first.
Wait, Zach, your tweet was crazy, bro.
You like that?
No. Question coming on in Reddit. It's the top comment. So I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, most of my beef with them was in game, and in game means nothing to me. Like, I'm very much competitor, and I'm talking shit. Whether if I'm not on your team, I'm talking shit to you. That's kind of how it works. It helps me get in the mode to like, be ready to play. And I think I play better when I have like some beef with someone, because it just makes me want to win over just the tournament or over the money. It wants me to actually beat them. So I think it helps me, but we had a talk obviously when I joined FaZe, and it was nice and easy, nothing bad about it, and like it was just easy, just like that. I didn't have beef with them, and it was just that easy.
They had beef with you?
No, no.
I mean, they wanted him, so
I think
at
the end of the day, we're all trying to win, and I think we all believe that each other is the best chance to win.
No, yeah, I'm super excited for the year, man. I'm telling you, Drazah's gross. I can't wait. Nah, dude, that MC and fucking Draz snaking too. Lord, guys are gonna be fucking gross. I can't wait, bro. Nah, I'm excited. I mean, dude, I think so the reasoning behind like what we want to do this year is going into this season we wanted to move MC to a main and get a fast player for like a fast flex. That way the pacing on the team would be, insane. And that's why we went for Drazah. I mean, dude, Drazah literally brings insane pace and the kid's gross. So that was like the big reasoning why we went behind it. And yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for it, to be honest. But yeah, I think our pacing was a big issue, and that's why we wanted to move MC to a main, and we wanted to bring Drazah on the team. And I think that's going to really help with our pacing.
So aBeZy looks at it from their point of view, from the kind of like the role perspective, and it makes sense. Putting Cells in the main AR, I'm genuinely surprised they didn't try and do this last off season, to be honest, but they made the call eventually. They're putting Cells to the main. SlasheR was, he's a main AR player. He's pretty fast for a main SlasheR. I don't think he's a snail AR exactly, but he's not a particularly fast-paced AR compared to a Drazah or an actual, rapid guy with a lot of pace, puts a lot of pressure on the map like Drazah can and does do. And Drazah's run a sub in the past as well. Let's not forget the start of the Vanguard season and during parts of Cold War, Drazah was all over the shop. He'd be on the sub, he'd be on the AR, and then in the start of the Vanguard season, Kenny was on the flex, right, with Octane as the main, and Drazah was the second SMG to Envoy. They eventually made the correct decision to change that around. Kenny went to the SMG, Drazah went to the flex, and they got significantly better towards the end of the season. But Drazah can do it all, and it makes a lot of sense. So how well will these guys get on? Is there going to be any friction there under the surface, right? I guess we'll see about that. But, if they get good results, this is the thing. If they get top 3, top 2 every single event, then it's not going to matter, right? Like, they'll get away with it regardless. And I think they should be in a good position. The other part that I didn't really mention when we discussed this yesterday was the whole snaking thing. And the fact that Drazah as a player, like the type of player that he is, meshes well with the FaZe guys. And it's actually one of the reasons why the drama there initially started. I think it all began at the kickoff event in the Vanguard season when Drazah dropped a smoke at his feet. So, the smokes, they banned them eventually because they were super abusable in Vanguard. They're very inconsistent. You could drop them at your feet, really, and you could see around in, the short range, but anyone looking in couldn't really see, and they also removed aim assist, and it was a bit of a mess. So, Drazah was known for abusing this a fair bit. He would drop the smoke down, and then he was in a 1v1, and he killed the guy, and then Simp quote tweeted it and said, yeah, deserved loss, because I think they lost the series anyway. And he was like, yeah, deserved loss for abusing this smoke glitch. But this is the way that Drazah plays, right? He is a player that likes to abuse all of the potential avenues to maximize chances of success. He's done that with the smoke grenades and with the snaking. Let's not forget this past season, Drazah in the snaking, he was one of the king snakes in the league. Cellium is the other king snake and probably the original king snake in the league. We even see a little bit of it in that clip there. So Cellium and Drazah are fully embracing this next season, and I can't imagine how annoying they are going to be to play against. The game might be different. Snaking might not be a thing, right? A little bit. We'll see. it depends, because this past game, Modern Warfare 2, they attempted to remove slide cancelling, which they pretty much did Infinity Ward, so congratulations. And many would say, look, I'd happily have slide cancelling back if we have no snaking. But the issue is that it's possible to have slide cancelling and snaking, and probably in that world, these guys are even more of a nightmare to play against. But still, maybe there's a world in which that could happen and snaking is gone from the game, but more than likely it's going to be in the game. It's been in the past several games, and Cellium will probably find a way to do it, and Drazah will find a way to abuse certain things in the game as well. So Cellium just straight up tweets out, "Welcome to the squad, Drazah," with the snake emoji, and then Drazah's like, "Nobody is matching us." So I can't imagine what these guys are going to be up to next year. And then this I thought was a funny tweet that probably palled it here. Drazah and Cell next year, when they get the chance to snake SlasheR on an absolute godheady, and they're going to get ready to go. So this is the thing. SlasheR is going to have a bit of a hard time next year up against these guys, I'm sure. We already saw this season, what was it? There was some like S&D tourney that it was SlasheR versus Cellium in a 1v1. Teammates, of course, at the time. And Cellium snaked like so hard this poor guy, SlasheR. He must have been fuming. So it's going to be happening again, but on an almighty scale. So they're not just going to be a bit of a hated team by the general fan base because they're FaZe and now you're adding Drazah, one of the villain players, but also they're probably going to be hated by other teams playing it this way. But look, if it gets them victories, it's going to get them victories. But there's clearly an intention here to rile up SlasheR to some degree, and this is pretty interesting that Drazah would do this. Now, SlasheR probably doesn't need any more reason to be fired up for the new season, but FaZe are certainly trying, and Drazah is certainly trying, interestingly enough, because it's funny how it works, right? Drazah and SlasheR have kind of a bit of drama this past season, mainly because Drazah's on Thieves, SlasheR's on FaZe, and therefore there's a big rivalry there. All of a sudden, Drazah joins FaZe and SlasheR leaves, and now Drazah's the one talking trash the other way around. He says, "Villain arc, excited to get to work with these boys," and drops this gif of Thanos basically, melting away. So, and this, of course, Thanos is SlasheR, and if you guys aren't familiar with the lore on that one, it started around the Black Ops 4 days, and has continued since then. So Drazah's clearly running this up a little bit and be like, yeah, I'm better than this guy, like, you drop this guy and it's going to be a good decision, and SlasheR, I'm sure, is looking at this thing and alright, let me get that in the bookmarks. That's what Crone says, tweet out to your bookmarks. SlasheR right now getting ready for the Revenge Talkers. That Boston team with SlasheR, Priestahh, Snoopy, +1, whoever they're going to officially confirm, is going to be, that's a Revenge Tour team, to be honest. Priestahh versus New York, and SlasheR now certainly against FaZe. If SlasheR wasn't already wanting to beat FaZe as much as possible, Drazah has made it very clear that that's going to be a big rivalry next season. So massively looking forward to seeing when those two teams match up next season. And yeah, SlasheR with a fire under him is potentially a force to be reckoned with, but will they have the same strength of squad that FaZe have? Probably not on paper. Looking forward to those series regardless. Drazah was also asked the question on the flank, what do you think about potentially playing OpTic for the first time next year? When you play OpTic, how's that going to go? Who's going to win? And Drazah was like, yeah, we're going to smoke them, no chance they beat us this time, which is, and people are like, oh, no way Drazah said that, but what do you expect him to say, right? Do you expect him to say he's going to get smoked by OpTic just because OpTic have this weird thing that they always seem to beat FaZe? Probably not, but the storylines are setting themselves up rather nicely, it's got to be said, for the new season. And just to close out with a pretty remarkable stat here that a few of the players we mentioned in today's video have made it onto this list, but as Brian's stat says, highest series KD in the grand finals, this is LAN only. The record is absurd, to be honest. Formal, Stage 2 Perth 2014, this is one of his first ever events as a COD pro, let's not forget, when he joins Envy, dropped a 1.98, Dashy had a 1.7 in the Vegas finals, then Zuma actually, Crim is up here, there's quite a lot of players over a 1.5, Simp and Formal also both tied here for top 10, and Formal's the only player to appear on this list twice, which is maybe not a surprise, but is nonetheless very impressive. So very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.